I will never forget what happened last night. The memory is still raw, like the sting of ice held too long against bare skin, refusing to dull even as dawn slipped across the horizon. It should have been a quiet, gentle moment, the kind of soft-lit scene poets press between their pages when they need proof that tenderness still exists in the world. Instead, the evening fractured like glass the instant I leaned in to kiss her, and the shards are still scattered across my thoughts, catching in the light whenever I try to look away. You would have been surprised to see her eyes in that instant. They didn't blaze with anger, nor did they brim with tears. They froze, as if some private winter swept through her without warning. 1 second, the distance between us felt smaller than a breath. The next, it stretched into an uncharted wasteland, barren and wind-scoured. Her pupils, once warm constellations I could navigate by heart, dimmed to stone. It was a look that did not simply say no. It declared a silent verdict. I no longer belonged in the story she meant to live. The shock of that coldness rooted me to the spot. My lips hovered a whisper away from hers, and in that fragile space I heard the echo of every time she had welcomed me with a smile, every moment she had threaded her fingers through mine, as though the spaces between them had always been carved for me. Last night stripped those memories bare, and the sudden absence of warmth was louder than any shouted rejection could have been. When the seconds stretched too thin to hold, she stepped back, just one measured step, but it may as well have been a mile. The room felt suddenly cavernous. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, the distant hiss of a streetlight outside, and the frantic thud of my own heart betraying the calm fog I tried to wear. I forced myself to ask if she was all right, if I'd done something wrong. Her shoulders rose and fell in a shallow breath. Then she turned away, muttering something about needing space. The words sounded like a door closing, and I felt the cool draft of separation slip through the cracks. You have to understand, this was unprecedented. Every other kiss we shared carried the effortless gravity of planets in orbit. Every touch reaffirmed a covenant of trust I thought was mutual and unbreakable. That sudden reversal was like waking to find gravity suspended, furniture floating, water running up walls. Natural laws don't simply reverse, not without a force great enough to rewrite reality. So I searched for that force. I looked for the fulcrum that had tilted her affection off its axis. I replayed the hours before the incident, what we ate, what we talked about, the music playing in the background. I combed through weeks of text messages, dissecting each emoji for hidden meanings I might have missed. I interrogated my own memory as though it were an unreliable witness, dragging up every exchange in which her smile had seemed slower to bloom or her laughter had fallen a note shy of genuine. Patterns emerged like faint footprints in fresh snow, subtle but undeniable, leading back to a single revelation. It shouldn't have taken me that long to see it, but denial is a clever smoke that cloaks even obvious shapes. The truth drifted through at last, as bitter and undeniable as midnight coffee. She had sensed something shifting in me, something revolving quietly but irresistibly around you. That hidden gravity was you, my unlikely North Star. While I tried to pretend that my heart remained steady in its original orbit, she felt the faint tug drawing me elsewhere. Perhaps it was the way my eyes flickered toward my phone whenever your name appeared on the screen, no matter how casually our conversations began. Perhaps it was the diluted enthusiasm when she suggested future plans, because my future had already begun to sketch itself in subtle silhouettes that included you instead. Perhaps it was simply the intangible difference in the air whenever I spoke your name, an unconscious softening of my voice that she could not unhear once noticed. Love, after all, is an atmosphere. You may not see it, but you breathe it in every moment you share the same room. So when I leaned in to kiss her last night, she was not just turning away from me, she was turning away from a lie. She refused to become a supporting character in a story whose climax belonged to someone else. The coldness in her gaze was not cruelty. It was self-preservation, the reaction of a heart that refuses to break quietly in the background. In that moment, I understood that I had been asking her to inhabit an echo, because the true hearth of my emotions had drifted into your keeping. You may not realize the depth of the current you set in motion. We never spoke of it outright. We never dared give the feeling a definitive name. We were cautious travelers on an unmarked road, trading glances like contraband maps that showed only half the journey. Yet intent has a way of glowing through the thinnest veil. My intentions, however concealed, cast enough light for her to read the unspoken script. I was slipping away from her, word by unuttered word, touch by faltering touch. Last night, that script reached its unavoidable scene. The stage lights flared, the curtain lifted, and she saw the truth sprawled across the set. And I saw the truth too, reflected in the stark chill of her eyes. Love cannot share a heartbeat divided. Today, I sift through the aftermath. I keep circling the memory like an archaeologist at a fresh dig site, brushing dirt from broken artifacts of our relationship, fitting fragments together to understand where the fault lines lay. I find traces of laughter polished smooth by time, photographs whose edges curl with nostalgia, little gifts exchanged in moments of uncomplicated joy. I handle them carefully, yet every discovery resounds with the subtle crack of something irreplaceable. And always, in the corner of every shard, I see the outline of your presence, soft, undeniable, formative. How do I explain your part in all this? To say you are the reason is too blunt an instrument, but precision cuts closer to the bone. You are not guilty of theft, because I offered my attention freely. You did not scheme to unravel what I had with her. You simply existed, and in existing, you resonated at a frequency I had long forgotten could reach me. The fault lies in the way my heart responded, how it found itself humming to your tune like a struck chord still reverberating after the musician lifts their fingers. Whenever we spoke, about trivial things, about dreams, about songs that make us close our eyes and forget the room, I felt a sense of recognition so deep it frightened me. It was as though the years had been building toward those conversations, as if the language we shared was older than both of us, waiting in some quiet archive of fate to be discovered. Attraction of that sort is silent but seismic. It reconfigures the landscape of one's loyalties without asking permission. She felt the tremors. She may not have had the map, but she heard the distant rumble of tectonic plates shifting under our feet. And so, last night, when I bridged the space between us to place a kiss on her lips, she realized the ground beneath us was no longer hers to stand on. She refused an embrace built on unstable earth. I respect her for that, even as I mourn the loss of what we shared. It takes courage to meet deception, not deliberate deception, but the softer kind that comes from someone's heart wandering before they have the bravery to admit it, and to say no more. She chose the integrity of her own heart over the comfort of pretending. In doing so, she forced me to confront a choice I had delayed far too long. Now, I sit here writing these words, trying to reach you through the hush that follows catastrophe. I want you to see the full shape of what unfolded, not to cast blame, but to trace the lines that connect us all to this moment. You are part of my story now, whether you wish to be or not, because stories have a mind of their own, and they gather characters the way storms gather clouds. I cannot promise that the path ahead is neat. Emotions rarely arrange themselves in tidy parcels. There will be apologies to give, first to her, because she deserves honesty unmarred by excuses. Then to myself, for allowing fear to hold the keys to my decisions. And inevitably, to you, because whether you wanted it or not, my silence drafted you into a conspiracy of half-truths. Yet even through the regret, a quiet clarity is settling like dust after an earthquake. The world has shifted, but the outline of the landscape is beginning to emerge. In the distance, I can see a road that leads toward you, narrow, uncertain, but undeniably real. I do not know if you will beckon me forward or set a boundary I must respect. Either way, I will walk this new terrain with my eyes unclouded and my heart unburdened by pretense. Last night taught me that love demands integrity, the way lungs demand air. Without it, affection turns to suffocation. I have no intention of suffocating again. So I will breathe, fully, painfully, gratefully. I will stand before you without the armor of evasions, carrying only the truth of what I feel and the humility of what I owe. This, then, is what happened and why. When I tried to kiss her, she felt the absence of my devotion, an absence shaped like you. She sensed it the way one feels the outline of a missing tooth with their tongue, an emptiness so specific it confirms the memory of what once was there. Her reaction was not betrayal. It was revelation. It revealed to me the exact contour of my divided heart. And you, whether you intended it or not, became the compass pointing out that division. Your presence guided my wandering emotions like iron filings toward true north. If that implicates you, let the record also show it was my failure to confront the magnetism openly that caused the harm. Responsibility rests in my hands like a weight I am finally willing to carry. So what now? The night has ended, but its consequences linger. The phone sits silent, heavy with unsent messages. The sunrise pries at the curtains like a curious child, urging me to step into the day and choose. I do not yet know what words I will speak to her when we next meet. I only know they will be honest, even if they sever what's left. I owe her that much truth, untangled from comfort. If you choose to meet me somewhere along the horizon that has opened between us, it will be on the grounds of truth. No shadow of a third party, no hidden agendas, no half-lives lived in parallel. It will be messy, yes, but it will be real. And real is the only soil in which love can put down roots strong enough to weather nights like yesterday. Until then, know this. I am stepping away from illusions, stepping toward accountability, and if you will have me, stepping toward you. That journey begins with these words and whatever reply you choose to lay beside them. Whether that reply is an invitation or a farewell, I accept it. I cannot unwrite the past, but I can unfold the future with honesty as my only compass. Last night was unexpected, yes. But perhaps our lives needed to be upended, the same way soil must be broken before new seeds can take hold. And maybe, just maybe, the next season will bloom with something neither of us anticipated, something courageous and wild and utterly genuine. 03